Hello and welcome to the Eradicators. I'm your host for today, the Eradicator, and in this video we'll be talking about a game that I hope will bring back some fond memories to anyone who grew up in the 90s or before, because that game is Wreckfest, and you are going to see that it is the spiritual successor to the Destruction Derby series that a lot of players of the original PlayStation have been longing for, and here is why. Now, first, a quick reminder of the old Destruction Derby games. These games were games in which you controlled a car and tried to win races with whatever means necessary. The cars were of course destructible, and especially in Destruction Derby 2, which was the best entry of the series, and this game was overall incredibly fun and enjoyable despite its lack of content, which was a common thing back in the days. After two unsuccessful sequels in 2000 and 2004, the burgeoning genre slowly faded away, but people did not forget the fun they had nevertheless. Then, in 2013, an interesting Kickstarter campaign launched under the initiative of Bugbear Entertainment. The idea was to create a game that would revive the spirit of those ancient titles, while of course making them stand up to modern standards. That game was then simply called The Next Car Game and was aiming to reach a funding of $350,000. Unfortunately, the campaign failed as the developers could only gather $81,000. But that did not discourage Bugbear, however, as they decided to launch the game in an early access and give the backers a tech demo to try out the studio's technology in the form of a Destruction Derby arena. And this was exactly what the fans wanted, and the money was gathered through that process, allowing them to continue development. It also caught the attention of THQ Nordic, who then decided to support and publish the game. The game was then regularly updated and fleshed out to then become the product that we have today. Finally, 4 years later, in 2018, Bugbear officially released the game on Steam, and the game has received very positive reviews as it does end up living to the players' expectations, not just with the fans of the old school games, but also with new, younger players who just want to have a good time wrecking other players in the game that does encourage players to do so. And given how frowned upon it is to ram other players in a normal racing game, just like, for example, the F1 series or Project Cars, just to name these titles, right? So giving the players such power of destruction at their fingertip is a true breath of fresh air. So, what can you do exactly in Wreckfest, and what makes it a game that so many people enjoy? Well, first, there is an extensive solo mode, which is, despite what some of the biggest publishers claim every now and then, something that many players actually appreciate. It is divided into single races or events that you can randomly choose, and an interesting career mode that will make you progress and learn the ropes of the game, while occasionally spicing things up with some fun events like a lawn mower race or a challenge in which you have to survive and win against an army of harvesters where you are driving a tiny vehicle. The traditional multi-lap races are also often swapped with more adrenaline-filled destruction derbies in which you must either score the most points by taking down other racers or simply survive until the end. The latter stipulation is actually the most challenging as it requires a little bit of strategy in order to make it. Are you going to actively take part of the elimination process, or are you going to patiently wait until everyone eliminates one another and then come out and do the final killing blow? Now, of course, the game does not allow you to do just that, as you'll get eliminated if you remain inactive, but it is nevertheless possible to do minimal damage and then wait to be able to do just that. And it's not just the races and the game mechanics that makes the game fun, it's incredibly accurate and detailed physics rendering. One of the most hilarious things to witness in Wreckfest is, for example, how bodies just end up flying in the air once vehicles such as a sofa or an outhouse get bumped a little bit too violently. I mean, just look at how distorted those bodies are as they get launched before and then end up smashing pathetically their heads on whatever comes across. I mean, that is just brilliant. The cars are also very detailed despite their scruffy looks, and they can be entirely destroyed bit per bit, and all of the damage is entirely modelized, so you can visually see what is wrong with your car or make accurate predictions of what kind of damage you'll want to avoid if you want to stay out of trouble. Of course, to allow for that, the developers did not acquire official license for the cars, but they are heavily inspired by some real-life models, and car enthusiasts will easily be able to identify which one were based to create those that we drive in the game. Now, of course, as with most games nowadays, there is also a rather prominent multiplayer mode too, and this mode is just about having fun. Winning a race sure feels good, but this is not what most people are after. Players here are instead looking to share that adrenaline rush that they get in single-player mode with other players. Having the most remarkable crash or ramming other players just for the sake of doing so is what they want. There are even players who spend their entire race blocking the way just because they feel like doing so, and this is totally fine because other players also have at their disposal the means to eradicate those pesky trolls. Another thing that is much appreciated is that over 2 years after its official release, the game is still heavily supported by the developers and regularly gets added new content that players get to enjoy in multiplayer or even in a solo mode. Now, some people would argue that a lot of that content is paid content when it comes to cars, and that these cars are either faster or stronger, but in reality, it is also possible to earn these cars by actually playing the game, which I think is a respectable business model, as not everyone has the time to grind for good items, while at the same time allowing players to do so is a good way to keep the game populated and active, as it encourages more people to join in. No one wants to play a multiplayer game that nobody else plays, for example. However, a crowded game will attract players as they know that they will get to enjoy some action every time that they join. I would also have one last strong positive thing to add here, and that is regarding the multiplayer mode again, concerning the fact that you get to choose between choosing a game lobby or being automatically put into a game via matchmaking. This is a feature that unfortunately tends to be disappearing, and this has caused a lot of issues, especially in the last Star Wars games, for example, where people seem to be sent into empty games. In Wreckfest, you can create your own lobby or join the lobby that you want with the people and the rules that you want, and that also gives everyone a chance to enjoy the multiplayer settings and games that they like the best. So there we have it, guys, why Wreckfest is awesome and why it brings older gamers like myself good vibes while also providing younger ones with a unique and fun experience. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please consider leaving it a like, as it really helps the channel a lot, and you can also subscribe if you want to see regular gaming content. This has been the Eradicator. I'll see you guys later. This video is brought to you by the people who support this channel on Patreon and via the join button as well. Supporters of the channel get access to lots of cool perks, such as access to my private Discord, your question answered in the show, you get to know when I'm going to play, and also you get to have a chance to influence the editorial line of the channel. Any help is appreciated, starts at just $1 a month. Thank you very much for watching. This is the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys later.